Hello and welcome. My name is Benson. I'm going to share today my journey of becoming an international teacher in the US. If this is information that you'd want to learn more about, I'm going to be sharing more videos in the coming days. So subscribe to this channel so that you can learn more when I update more videos. All right, first, if you'd want to become an international teacher, of course, there are documents you need. You need a passport from your own country. So that's where it really begins. If you don't have one, encourage you to register in your country, get one, and then you can begin your journey of becoming an international educator. All right, so my journey began about 4 years ago when I learned about agency that recruits international teachers to teach in US public schools called FACES. And so I'm going to share my journey about how I applied with FACES and eventually got the job and became an international teacher in the US. So FACES in full is called Foreign Academic and Cultural Exchanges Services Company. So right here, FACES in short. So this is the agency that helped me, recruited me to come over teach in the US. And if you come into this website, if you click on this, teaching the US eligibility, I want to show you if you want to become an international teacher. So these are the requirements. So you need a good level of spoken and written English. The good thing with this agency and many similar agencies, which I did not know then, but I know today, I'm going to be sharing in the coming days more of these agencies. So you need professional level of spoken and written English. The good thing with this agency and other similar agencies, you actually do not need English tests like IELTS or TOEFL. So it's a good thing with just if you're just able to speak good written spoken English, then you're good to go. You need a university degree that can be equivalated to US bachelor's, 4 years bachelor's degree, and I'll talk more about that shortly. Then you need to apply to an area of training that your bachelor's degree corresponds with. Okay. So if you're not a special teacher, for example, you cannot apply for special education. If you are trained for math, then you apply for math. If you're elementary school teacher, then you cannot apply to middle school, and so on and so forth. Then your degree must have teaching components, like you must have some teaching internship or teaching practice, maybe some psychology, philosophy. They want to see that your transcripts have those teaching components. At least 2 years teaching experience, you need a driver's license, and they say you need at least 1 year driving experience. FACE is actually strict on these requirements. Some other agencies, as long as you have a driver's license, they may recruit you. FACE requires this. The reason really is because in the US, many places, there's really no functional like public transport that you can rely on. So you need to drive around, and they want to be confident that when you come and they put you on the roads immediately, you're able to drive. Then you need a good certificate or what sometimes is called police clearance from your own country, and you need to be in good general health. Okay, so this is the agency I use. So I just apply. There's a link here that says apply now system. So before you can teach in the US, your qualifications from your own country, whether you're from Ghana, South Africa, Uganda, wherever you come from, so they need to change your degree or transcripts. Okay, evaluate them to the American system so that they can see what is the equivalent of your degree in the US system. So there are some agencies or companies that do that, evaluation companies. The one that FACES usually recommends is called Spantran, or actually used to be called Spantran. They're actually changing their name to the evaluation company. I'm going to show you their website okay, so this is the evaluation. This is the evaluation company website, formerly known as Pantran. So you need to come to this website and you can click on apply now. Of course, they are going to ask for your credentials, like create a portal with them, and then you can go on and do a course by course evaluation, or sometimes called course analysis evaluation. This is not the only company that does this. There are others like WES and many others, but you need to apply with an agency that is NACES, NACES approved, but FACES recommends the evaluation company. So if you need to do your evaluation from your transcript, local country transcript to the US, you need to apply with this agency if you want to apply with FACES. So back to FACES. So that's how my journey began. I put in my application with them. I've gone through the list of those things that you need. Obviously, you also need a resume. Some people many times ask me, what is the format of doing international applications? Format of resume for international applications. And I usually answer that the format really doesn't matter much. There are so many different formats you can use. Just make sure your resume is well written. It talks about your education, it talks about your qualifications and experiences, because that's the major things. What you can do, what you've already done, resume that sells you. So apart from that, whichever format you use, just make sure the main content that recruiters would want to know is captured. Okay, so then you'll need recommendation letters as well. FACES particularly asks that you get a recommendation from your immediate supervisor, the principal, a deputy principal, and probably your HOD or your head of counseling in your school. So people who have some kind of, supervision responsibility over you, so that they can write about how they know you and what you do in your job. Okay, so your principal, deputy, and your HOD can write your recommendation letters. Okay, so that's what I did, and then I did the application. Then they booked me for an initial interview. That's what they usually do. First, they want to call you. Now, because they do not do English tests, they want to hear your language, make sure you can comfortably communicate in English, and get some background information about you, your experience, how you manage your classes, and so on. So I did that initial interview with one of the staff members of FACES, very friendly staff. And then they asked me to do a recorded video. Like they give you a few questions which you can answer as you make your video, kind of helping you to talk more about yourself. Now that you're not going to attend physically, of course, you're not in the US at this point, and I was not at that point. So I did my video, recorded my video, nothing complex, just did it on my phone. And that is what they send out to principals and HR directors of different school districts. They listen to your video, see if they are interested in you. So that's what happened to me. I'm actually sharing my story as I also talk about what they do as their process. So I presented my video to different principals. I got I think I did 3 interviews, and then one school was interested, hired me for the job. And then they sent me an important form that is called a DS 2019. So when you get to this point where a school has given you an offer of a job or a school district, they send you a DS 2019 form. We're actually talking about J1 visa sponsorship. I know I've not mentioned this before, but you need a visa to come to the US. And so this agency offers J1 visas. It's actually a cultural exchange visa. Like it allows you to come to the US for 3 to 5 years to teach in a US school. You're supposed to spend some time here, then go back to your country to share about what you learned, your culture. Yeah, so it's a cultural exchange visa. Okay, so they send you a DS 2019 form, which allows you now to book your visa. So that's what I did after I got my DS 2019. Went to the US Embassy website, booked my visa, paid $160. I think so those days. These days, these are changed. They keep reviewing the fee sometimes. So when you make your application, check your US Embassy website on the charges at that particular point. Okay. Then I went to the US Embassy for my interview. Actually, perhaps I did need to say this was about the time of COVID, so I got some delays during that period, but eventually I got my chance to go to the embassy, ask me a few questions, and eventually I got the visa. Okay, and then I traveled over to the US and started my training, my teaching rather. All right, a question I get a lot is how long does the entire process take? I'll say it depends on many different things. There's really no fixed time. Some people will take a short time. This could happen in weeks, it could happen in months. As for some people, it even takes more than a year because your subject maybe may have more teachers in line and waiting. So it depends on different things. It could take normally I'd say a few months for most people, but it could be shorter for some, it could be longer for some people. Okay, the other question that gets asked a lot is on charges. On this website, Faces explain general view of the fees you face rather. Now the good thing with Faces, they actually do not charge. They don't put a charge on their service of recruiting you as an international teacher. Some agencies will charge some money. This one doesn't. So, but there's going to be a few requirements that will need your, even if they do not charge, because like you have to pay for your visa interview, you pay for your credential evaluation. Faces actually refunds the amount you use for your credential evaluation. At least they did when I applied. But there's a lot they pay for, fees paid by Faces on your behalf. So they pay your sponsor fee, like they do not charge. They'll share later they charge. Service fee, which is charged by US government. Faces pays for your international flight, and then they help with other things. You can check out this website for more. I think the other thing I would want to mention is about cost of living, which is another question so many people ask. So yes, on this website is also shows some anticipated cost of living, like your housing, say approximately 800 to 1500. I'll actually say the costs depend a lot on where you live. Some US states are more expensive to live than others. For example, Faces recruits teachers for South Carolina, relatively not expensive state compared to, say, California, Washington, or other states. So, but food, $300 to $400 depends on maybe yeah, your appetite as they state, whether you bring your family or not, and so on and so forth. And so now that I mentioned family, the J1 visa actually allows you to bring your family to the US. Maybe I can talk more about that in another video. Utilities, transport, and so on and so forth. So basically, that's my journey, and that's how I was able to come to the US as an international teacher. If this interests you, you can check out these agencies. A good agency brings many teachers from around the world to work in the US. I'll leave the link in the description. so that you can link up with them if you need to. All right. I encourage you to subscribe to my video for more. I'll be sharing more about these agencies and how you can become successful in getting an international teaching job in the US. I will also leave a link to my Telegram channel in the description. Link up with me if you have questions, if you need more information. You can join the Telegram channel. We'll be sharing more on that platform. Thank you and see you in the next one.